Good day, Mr. McBride.
Good day, sir.
Thank you. Let me start by thanking you for your services when you were Mkhonto and MK, and for your struggles before. We cannot overlook that, sir. Thank you for that. South Africa is like this because of you guys that fought for us. Appreciate. Are you from KZN? And can you speak Zulu? But
No, I lost it. I've been spoiled up in the north.
oh, but you can't clever you.
No, just give me a short question in English. It'll be okay. Yeah.
No problem. With me, we can talk, we can smile, we can laugh. I just need us to have a conversation, not to fight.
Thank you.
At one stage, EFF President, Honorable Julius Malema, tweeted that you should replace General Pahlani as a national acting national police. Do you remember that tweet? Have you seen this?
That who should replace him? Me?
You should replace.
Oh, no, I was not aware of that, sir.
It was a tweeter. He tweeted that Pahlani out, put McBride in. Personally, do you think he was correct? Would you have been a good national commissioner?
So I've heard that. So Cedric says that I Phazamised Sithole and Pahlani and all these people so I can become national commissioner. But the truth of the matter, I never put my hat in the ring there. I think on reflection, in retrospect, I should have.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you wouldn't have had this where money flying all over the show.
So your answer to me is you would have been a good commissioner.
Absolutely.
So did you open cases against Pahlani, Mtiba, Sithole?
No, actually I didn't. Sithole himself was caught in a video as part of a conspiracy to take 45 million out of the secret fund of the crime intelligence. So all aspects is there. That case has still been finalized, but it's a...
How long is that case?
Sorry, boss?
How long is that case?
How long has it happened? Since 2017. So it's about 9 years.
Still no arrest?
There's no arrest. I think no arrest yet, according to me, but I don't know full details of it.
Would you say IPID is failing us there?
IPID might be failing you now, yes.
Then
IPID worked hard 18 hours a day to get a case going. I drove my people hard, but with full appreciation.
So he's still not arrested on the case, you believe?
On that case, no. In fact, after his dismissal, I'm not sure by which minister, I can't remember now the sequence of events. He then blamed the minister for it, but it was the minister's advisor who was part of that.
And who's that?
Sorry, what?
Who was that minister's advisor?
The minister was Minister Mbalula at the time. The advisor was Mbindwane.
Mbindwane, okay.
Yeah, Ungani Mbindwane.
Yes.
He was right in the video. He was right in the meetings. He was right.
You just reminded me of something. Sorry to interject. There was a story that former Minister Mbalula's advisor, Mbindwane, was in a meeting of a 7 million tender that turned into a 47 million. And it was said he was there for Minister Mbalula's sake. Was it true?
So I don't know about Minister Mbalula, and I never had that direct line. But Mbindwane was there, and the instruction to activate the process was there. That is the one thing, process that Nkabinde was informed about, but didn't treat it with haste. So what it was is actually nothing was going to get bought from the information. It was to access on the ruse, on the pretend that something will be bought, but it's to get their hands on cash.
So that's why, hence, the 7 million was ballooned into 47 million.
45 million, yeah.
45 million.
Yes, sir.
So there was such a case.
Yes, there was, sir.
What happened to it?
That case is still being investigated, like I was
How
saying.
many years ago?
Was 2017.
Okay. I'm still on the Pahlane Sithole and Mutiba case. There was allegations or case opened for Mutiba that defeating the hands of justice. Can you explain that? What happened?
Oh, it was a person from crime intelligence who was called into a meeting by Mutiba. And by the way, myself and Mutiba got on very well. And Mutiba, I told the person that they should not cooperate with the investigation, or they should withdraw their statements against some other people who were involved in some, let's say, criminal activity. And that person that he told it to was a brigadier. So the person then went and laid a charge, a Brooklyn case. Nothing to do with us. And then eventually the Brooklyn case, I think, got pushed to iPad, but I think by then I was gone already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those cases were withdrawn against Mutiba?
I don't think they were withdrawn. I think they just didn't. I actually don't know what happened to them, whether they arrived in court and whether they were thrown in court, or they just didn't proceed, or provisionally taken off the roll. I don't know. But I've seen the statement of the brigadier who made the allegation.
So you were not the lead of that brigadier? You didn't send that brigadier to open those cases?
No, the brigadier is in crime intelligence, not with me.
Do you know that brigadier? Are you friends?
The brigadier?
Yeah. Do you know him? Are you friends?
It's a female, a woman.
She's a female. Oh.
Yeah. She's one of the very good people who've been dealing with wrongdoing in crime intelligence, and it's always been at the forefront of providing information.
Did she know of your ambitions of wanting to be a national commissioner?
Sorry, ma'am?
Did she know of your ambitions of wanting to be a national commissioner?
I never had such ambitions.
None?
No. I could have put my hats in the ring.
You could have?
Yeah.
So in all the cases you were appointed, you have suggested your name?
No, I don't understand you now, sir.
No, I'm asking, in all your appointments as a senior leader,
yeah,
did you hand in your name yourself, or?
Yeah, I applied for a post, yeah.
So this thing that you had ambitions to be a national commissioner is not true?
No, it's not true, sir.
So how come there's those cases against Mutiba? And again, do you remember Dladla? General Dladla?
Yeah. Very well.
Allegedly, there is a case that a certain service provider borrowed him money through his lawyers.
Yeah.
And IPIT said that there was corruption in that, and then you investigated.
Well,
was Dladla going to be, did at that time, do you think Dladla was going to be a national commissioner? Was there a possibility?
Oh, I don't know what the politics at the higher levels in SAPS is. I don't know. But I know Dladla at some stage, like I was saying earlier, Cedric Nkabin, they called me to a secret meeting. When I arrived at the meeting, was Dladla. So the meeting was to say, I've got a group of generals who they're about to help you with your investigation. When I arrived there, it was Dladla, Klimba, Ngobo. They were there, and we were just looking at each other. It was in a hotel room. And then Cedric was there, said, well, sir, they're willing to work with you. So I said, well, my work is fighting against corruption. I'll cooperate with you if we fight against corruption. And that's where it ended. But I know there was a case. Oh, by the way, for the record, I don't believe that a service provider lending money to the end user, of the service, the person who puts the order in, is correct. I think it's inappropriate and probably criminal.
Was Dladla in any position of giving tenders at that time?
Any position of?
Giving tenders or
No, I'm not sure about that at all, but he was the end user as
how so?
head of Presidential Protection Unit, whatever it's called.
But did he have powers maybe to give tenders?
I'm not sure what the circumstances are. The fact he got a loan doesn't matter. Service providers of SAPS should not be loaning money to SAPS members.
Okay.
Yeah, so the wrong would be there. I don't know if he's ever been given a chance to explain it sort of in a benign way.
Oh, okay. While your mind is still remembering names in the meeting, can you kindly remind or tell me or remember who are these two AfriForum and DA people and journalists who were in the meeting with you and Paula Sullivan?
There was no AfriForum. There was an author who was writing a book about Radovan Klitschko.
But there was such a meeting.
It was a braai.
Oh, it was a braai.
It was a braai. 6th of December 2016.
So who are these journalists that were there?
Sorry?
Who are these journalists that were there?
There was no journalist there. There was only one lady who had written a book about, and I only found it out recently, who was there. There was some other people who were there who I didn't know who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew Shadrach Sibia, and I knew Cedric, I knew Manza, I knew Sarah, and I knew Paul. There were three or four people, and one was Brian. I found out later he's like in protective custody or something. And the meat wasn't very good anyway. So
let's talk about the rendition. We'll come back to that one.
yeah.
Two guys, this movie, to me, this is a movie. I don't want to lie to you. This is a movie. Guys are taken up, robbers are taken back to Zim in this irregularly indictment. Sorry. This deportation, irregular deportation. But what happens later is that these two guys, when they were that side, they die, apparently.
I think it's one only, sir.
One.
Yeah.
How did that person die?
The person was shot.
Was shot. Was the process of deportation followed correctly?
No, the process of deportation was irregular.
It was
not proper.
And that is why Sibia and Ramat were dismissed?
Yeah, wrongly so.
Wrongly so?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with it.
And the first thing you did when you came back, you reinstated them. You changed the report.
No, I didn't change the report. We added in new evidence that was obtained.
Which was only a cell phone that you
cell phone analysis and the cell phone analysis report and something else. I can't remember.
Let me make an example. Let me just make an example. Money is found under a sofa in the president's house.
Yes.
And it gets stolen. Sorry, Kusel. It gets stolen.
Yes.
Does that make the president not guilty of keeping money in the house because it's not in the house or his cell phone is not found in the scene?
Sorry, Honorable Member, I'm not sure the exact question. If you can give me the exact question, I'll answer it directly.
No, let me try this example again.
Yeah.
Money is found in the president's house under a sofa.
Yes.
And it is later stolen.
Yes.
Does this mean because he's not in the house and his cell phone is not there, he's not guilty of something?
Well, it depends on who uses the house and when. And it's not my case, but in discussions about that case, because the whole country was talking about it, you can't put the president's fingerprint anywhere near that. When I say fingerprints, what's the nexus between the president and
the money?
And the money, it's only the house. Yeah, it's only the house.
So if this was a criminal case, you would have said the president is not guilty. Because it was not there, but it isn't a stolen. Let's say it's a stolen vehicle. The stolen vehicle is in the president's house, so it's not his.
Yes, no, understand. You say so. If the president is not the only person who has possession or control of his house, if there are other people, I'll give you a good example, which I like using. when there are situations of extrajudicial killings. So a person, 5 people in a car, there's 1 firearm in the car. Are you supposed to shoot all 5?
If they point a gun at me,
No, no one points a gun. It's just evidence there's a
can't shoot.
gun. Now, the reason why I'm asking you this,
Okay, but because, for the sake of time, let's go back.
Okay,
so
sir.
Because of the cell phone, you decided that Sibia is not and Damad are not
Oh,
being
indeed.
this because of the cell phone not being there.
the
So
cell
a
phone,
criminal
the
can go
description-
and steal our laptops here and leave his cell phone at home and deny that he was here, and then he's not guilty because of that.
No, I think that's very critical question here, because what Kuba did, Kuba is a very quiet but effective guy.
Let's stick
So-
to the cell phone.
So Kuba,
Let's come back to the cell phone.
no, I'm busy with the phone.
Yeah.
No, hold on. I've
Okay.
got the phone. So this is his work phone. And he's got a private phone which no one knows about. Kuba found out about it and put 2 phones together on the request. And those 2 phones are moving together all around Gauteng, but they never reach where this scene of crime. Scene of crime, some people don't like
And
that word.
we are talking about people who understands exactly that when we look for evidence, you must also check phones.
You must check phones.
Yes.
Oh, they checked everything.
I'm saying we are talking about people who understands the law and the system, that if I'm looking for you,
Yeah.
the first thing I'll investigate is your phones, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a possibility that they might have left their phone on purpose. There's a possibility.
Both phones.
There's a possibility.
So,
Intentionally so.
look, we can hypothesize, and I got some good explanations. I'm not going out of the way to defend anyone. All I'm saying is Sibia was not in the scene.
Okay, let's
The
leave it.
descriptions they gave about Sibia is completely wrong.
And that's what you used to clean this
Well-
report, to change the report, to know
That was the
evidence.
evidence put there,
Okay.
because you can't leave that evidence out.
Between Sibia, okay, let me ask you this. Do you trust Sibia?
Sibia,
Is he a credible
in which sense?
Is he a credible officer? According to you?
From what I know, he is.
He is. Mkwanazi?
Mkwanazi, from what I know, he's interfered with IPD investigation.
Credible or not credible?
Sorry?
Credible or not credible? Let's stick to that. Sibia said credible.
Yeah.
Kabinde?
No,
Kabinde?
I don't want to have this thing.
No, let's have it. Kabinde?
Honorable Chair, I mean, the whole world can see in Govinda. I mean, why?
Credible or not credible?
If, I will answer now, but even you guys sent him home to fix up his evidence.
Credible or not credible?
No, it's certainly not credible.
Mkwanazi?
Mkwanazi, maybe for certain things he is,
Credible
but for
or
the
not
IPD
credible? No,
investigation,
just one. Credible or not credible?
on the whole, not credible.
Pahlani?
Absolutely not.
Mahlangu?
Which one?
The one, Mandla?
Well, when I spoke at his funeral, I said he's a man of integrity.
Okay.
From my view and experience,
Binang?
solid as a rock.
Kuba?
Kuba is solid. Solid.
Now, let me ask this. How much was the value of Pahlani's house?
According to the estimates of the specialists, those observing it, and the rate of building is 8 million at that time.
How much is Mandla Mahlangu's estimates, his house?
I don't know.
Did you know that Mandla had a 7 million plot?
Well, it was a family plot, the way I understand it, and his family was in taxi business.
Did you know that he has a house in Savannah?
I know the house, yes. I've been to the house.
His salary would afford that.
Sorry?
His house, his salary, would he afford that?
I couldn't have afforded it.
Did you investigate Mandla?
No, I didn't investigate him.
Why not? Because he was always...
Because I haven't heard any allegation of him stealing and getting kickback.
But the house that Paul O'Sullivan went to point,
Yeah.
which was Pahlani's house,
Yeah.
was worth for you to decide that I'm going to investigate this house. But Mandla's house, you didn't think to investigate it.
Thank you so much, Honorable Breytenbach.
Is that 20
Your
minutes?
time starts now, yeah.
Really?
It's up until 15 hours, Honorable Breytenbach.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. McBride.
Afternoon, ma'am.
So, on page 8 of your affidavit, you mentioned that in your view, General Makonazi played an undue and prosecutable role in trying to disrupt and scuttle IPID's investigation into Mr. Pahlani. Could you just briefly tell me why?
So he's in HR, and yet he involves himself in the investigation. He puts pressure on Mandla not to get involved in the investigation. That's Mandla's job. He offers Mandla and Cedric promotions if they become 204s. In his discussion with Khomo, who's from crime intelligence, working in tandem with Mkhwanazi, they ask him, even if Mandla asks, if I'm 204, okay, what am I going to say against the guy? I know nothing wrong about the guy. That's on the exchange on the phone. So Khomo says, no, find anything. And that's it. So he calls the chief investigation of the task team, namely Kuba. And he has a meeting with Kuba, a secret meeting set up by Nematanzela. Now, Nematanzela sets the meeting up. You have to hand in your phones, and then the issue is, I'll promote you guys. You find something on McBride, and so on. And so, all in all, that is defeating the ends of justice, in my view. It's actions, voluntary actions, which directly affect the integrity of the investigation. So in that instance, I would say it's a prosecutable case, but I don't know why the case has not been prosecuted. Maybe there's a competing priorities, maybe because Mandla is dead. Mandla also attested to an affidavit which indicates that he was offered the same thing, although Mandla stays away from Mkhwanazi because they're family friends, right? So I suppose that's why Khomo was sent to him rather than, rather than him going directly here.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any personal knowledge as to why the case against Mr. Sullivan and I think, what's her name? Trent?
Yeah.
Has not been prosecuted? It was struck off the roll some time ago. It's not been re-enrolled for the last sort of 9 years. Do you know what the holdup is?
No, I can't remember what the holdup is, but it's about getting a prosecutable case. And I think they jumped a gun under Mashucha to put it under racketeering. Now, racketeering, in whatever you do, you must have a gratification at the end. There's an absence of gratification, whatever the allegation was. So it was not sustainable. But Sean Abrams was insistent on it. Sean Abrams was completely under the control of the madness that pervaded the criminal justice system then.
When you say Sean Abrams was under control of the madness, do you have a person in mind? Under whose control was he?
Well, I heard a story about how he was appointed from a very junior prosecutor to a senior one. He was seen as malleable and has a great desire to please. And that's why he was chosen. He hadn't worked his way up.
Well, that we certainly agree on.
Yeah.
So you were suspended as the head of IPID in 2015. The then Minister Nhleka appears to have been behind that. You were cleared and then had to rebuild virtually the IPID.
Yes.
Because of the damage that had been done by crime intelligence during your suspension. Could you just briefly expand on that, but please, briefly.
Yeah. So yeah, it was hard to come back and put things together. So we had to move quickly because the key is to make impact on corruption. Other people can investigate forever and not make impact. IPID, broken, disrupted, denuded of resources and investigators, even then made impact because we just did our work. And we did our work like a bull terrier with a ball in its mouth. It's not going to let go. It's going to hold tight until it gets what it wants. And that's the right approach of tenacity of purpose. And that's what our country needs. We're not a show of force or something that is meant to threaten the constitutional establishment. That's crazy. I think we must call it for what it is.
And it's something else that I agree with you on. The SIU investigation is finalized, and the evidence received was an affidavit from a former national intelligence employee who's currently employed by SAPS. Are you aware of any of this?
Sorry, could you repeat it? I was having difficulty hearing.
Okay, never mind. I'll ask a different question. It's fine. I can just get back to my initial notes. What can you briefly, please, tell us about the RVU3 bulletproof vest procurement investigation into General Makonazi, and where did that end?
I think from memory now, I don't know where the case is. The case is being investigated. So it's a case involving the procurement of bulletproofs at an exorbitant amount. Instead of about 3,000 to 8,000, they were costing 33,000 each. So that means for 1,000, it was like 33 million or something. And that was the initial payment. So it's quite a trick in the police to artificially increase the price of goods purchased, because that facilitates backhanders. And
Yeah.
so that's what happened. Now, the person facilitating that is the same Ibanatan Kistia, which they're all around. The one I had alerted, or let's say strong warned state security that he represents a threat to our national security because of his hold on the police. So he was the one chosen. If I remember, there was two companies which belonged to him or related to him, both tendered for it. And then one of the companies that belonged to him got it. And then there was a trip to show something else, again to Paris. Seemed like Paris is a famous place for funny business. In any case, as a gift, organized for the officials there, a number of bags were handed out, like expensive luxury bags, something I'd never have. But seemingly those bags were like part of the overall inducement. It was not the main one. Something else was going down. It's not a bag. So there's a fuss made about the bags. The bags are just an indication that there is gratification at a small scale. So my understanding is that when Masamola was asked about it, he said, no, I don't remember it. And I think Mkhwanazi says, don't know what he's seen it as. But one of the officials at, I think it could have been even crime intelligence, I can't remember. Returned the bag to IPID, and it's part of evidence to indicate and gave a statement exactly the procedure that had preceded the handing out of bags. So what slowed the case down was we couldn't get the name of the driver who was driving people around so that the French could assist us with mutual legal assistance so that we can talk to the guy. That's where I understand it is. One of the people in facilitating that matter, I understand, a senior French policeman, is at present imprisoned for corruption. So I think it's best to get, that matter has been handled by IDAC now. It's better for IDAC to brief the committee on it. Yeah, so where that is. Now, I understand there are competing prosecutory priorities. So one has to look what is the best one. You have to make a choice which to go with first. It's not a pick and choose. It's which one is easier to get a prosecution and conviction on. So that is part of the process which holds some important cases behind.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is some cases which you think are not important in a particular case, if you had prosecuted them then without the bigger cases, a smaller case, the impact you might have made would have been bigger than going after the big case with a lot of resources. For example...
No, I agree with the principle.
Yeah.
It's fine, thank you. I'd like to move on to my next question.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Patlani was appointed by former President Zuma to serve as the acting national commissioner. His appointment came at the height of state capture. In your opinion, and based on your investigations as the head of IPID, did Patlani fight crime and corruption as he was mandated to do? Or did he use his position to enrich himself?
So, no, I didn't see any evidence of that. I didn't see any evidence of that.
Of what?
Of him being committed to fighting crime and make an impact. In my opinion, and maybe that's my memory after many years, is that he was mainly interested in his tenders. Someone just phoned me now from the crime laboratories who are working there. There's an instance when there was a process of fiscal dumping after the year end was closed. So what is fiscal dumping is when people haven't used their expenditure properly, and the last quarter they just buy or anything that is there, even if it's not a priority or needed, because they failed to do it consistently during the year. But in this particular case, it's the strangest one. It was for some lights, like an ultraviolet type of light, which was manufactured in Australia, and the order was generated at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 31st of March. I think could be 2018, I'm not sure of the year. And within 2 hours, no, sorry, before midnight, the 54 million was paid. So the stuff would have to be manufactured, come from Australia, delivered, and then that 54,000 would be paid. Now that's the most weirdest case of fiscal dumping. It's pure corruption. I don't know why it's not. I've mentioned it to Parliament before. I mentioned it to Parliament in Portfolio Committee, and I mentioned it to Scopa also. So those are matters which are kind of clear-cut matters, even if you come from purely an auditing side. So what happens is that because all the payments get lined up at the end of the year, the end of the month, at the end of the year, the payment reflects on 1st of April or 2nd of April. So it looks like it's in a new financial year. So the trick they use, because there are so many payments that need to be made, electronically they're all lined up. So you look for it, you search for the end of, 25, 26 financial year, and you won't find that payment there. So it looks like it's a false allegation. But if you check in 26, 27, one of your first payments there, you'll see it's the fiscal dumping. So there's all these tricks people have learned over time.
Yes, but the prosecution is surely aware of those tricks. Those cases should not be hard to do.
Yeah, they're aware of it, but I don't know how far the prosecution is here.
Okay. Then the case opened by Paul O'Sullivan against Mr. Pasani. It involved exhibits going missing from the forensic lab stores. There was reference to cocaine. Rhino Horn, are you familiar with this matter?
Yeah, I think it's either Munsami or Pop Crew who made the complaint, yeah.
Yes. And do you know what's happened to that matter?
No, I'm not sure what happened to. I know there was a key person who had been placed there to facilitate whatever must be done. And as soon as the investigations were done, there was a female officer, brigadier, suddenly disappeared from from the forensic crime lab. I can't remember the name of the lady. Yeah?
The case, do you know what's happened to that? Hasn't gone anywhere?
No, I don't have an idea, ma'am.
Earlier today, you mentioned that part of all the problems that you experienced started off with the investigation of one Mr. Toshan Pandey. Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah, so at a certain stage, the matter was handed over to us because it involved police officers involved. And the KZN DPCI was being targeted because they were investigating that matter. And that matter was linked to a lot of important people who had links to even more important people. In any event, it's about corruption and false accommodation during FIFA World Cup 2010, at which time former Minister Breytenbach was the national commissioner at that stage, which is the one involves Pandey, Ngobeni, I think someone called Mado, and one or two others. Yeah, I remember at that stage they tried to bribe Johan Boysen, who was the head of Hawks, with 2 million. But unbeknown to the bribers, he set them up, and there was a letter inside the money bag. And when the guy arrived with the money, after Boysen having, I think it's called a 252A, I think that's what it's called, with cameras, with recordings and everything. They picked up that the envelope with the letter in and dusted it for fingerprints. They found out Toshan Pandey's fingerprint is on there. So it's clear that he was associated with the 2 million bribe, and his go between, I think, was Madhu. And I think those cases are on it, I'm not sure, but those cases were handed to us. So we inherited for forensic people, and we submitted. We tried to get it so many times on the roll, and so many times it was kicked off. But I think it went on the roll. For some reason, I think Pandey is on the roll, but Pandey is on the roll also for tax evasion or something. There are a number of cases.
For what reason would a case be kicked off the roll several times?
I'm not sure. At least I know on one occasion, Commissioner Ria Piecha tried to stop the investigation. And Lieutenant General Tramat, as head of Hawks, countered that by said, go ahead with the investigation. The investigation has merit, go ahead. So that might be also a reason why it was targeted. The DPCI and Dramat were targeted because Dramat gave the order as a national head to continue with the investigation. So those are the links. The links inevitably, on that matter, even though we took it over, and I'm sure it's with IDEC or something now, or back to DPCI, I'm not sure. It started with that issue when former Minister Breytenbach was National Commissioner. And
That's fine, thank you. You'll agree with me, I'm sure, that crime intelligence is a vital aspect of fighting crime, and more particularly corruption, racketeering, those types of crimes.
Indeed.
Now, crime intelligence today is really almost non-existent. It's in a huge mess. Some of them have been arrested, some more than once. The IGI has been suspended. The head of the National Prosecuting Authority is under constant attack. The head of IDEC also under attack. What are your thoughts on these issues? Briefly, please.
Well, firstly, my view is that there should be an independent vetting, a security vetting, and integrity testing agency. Separate, not under crime intelligence, not under state security, but that deals with the two aspects, integrity testing and security vetting. Now, the difference between the two is security vetting every 5 years. And mostly it's there to test whether you are selling your country out. And integrity testing is really to check whether you're a thief or will do improper things. Now, the two are very different. The one you can do anytime, or at least once a year, or as a pre-employment screening. My own view is that they should be together. You can't do one or the other, because you will find a person with purported integrity on the scores is also selling his country out. And you'll find out an honest person who doesn't have a preponderance to steal might be selling his country out. But you'll find someone who's not selling his country out who's a thief. So you've got to weigh this up. And also the person that walks into a job at a particular time, it's as clear as water. Within 5 years, that's not the same guy. That guy's been contaminated by the environment. So you have to do it regularly to keep the integrity up and security vetting up, because that's happening all the time. It's happening all the time. So you need to do it and do it. But if you are under a particular ministry, the ministry will interfere with you. In some, we've seen two, I don't know what the reasons are, two inspector generals having their clearance withdrawn. Clearance is a game they play with. I remember Becky Clearly jumping up and down in Parliament about he doesn't have a security clearance, whereas he interfered with the process of me renewing my security clearance. And yet he employed my successor without a security clearance. So that's the game. It's an abuse of the security clearance issue. But if you have a dedicated agency that's independent, you can get the stuff done.
Okay, so talking about your security clearance and the fact that you were removed, while you were suspended at IPID, many cases were closed. I think it's reported that it was over 1,500 cases were closed while you were on suspension. For example, gang rapes by SAPS members, very big, important matters were closed. When you returned, how many of these cases were reinstated?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would imagine that Mr. Sissoko and his team would, in fact, I do remember they were dealing with identifying what was fiddled with and what can be put back on the investigation table. So I remember him doing that process, yeah.
Do you have any recollection of the numbers?
No, I don't have the numbers. I just know it was done, and I know it was significant enough to disrupt the normal flow of events.
My final question, Mr. McBride, and I want a very brief answer, please. 3 things that we can do that will limit or stop political interference in the criminal justice structure.
Well, politicians to know the lines. Also politicians, and we had started writing a document in the place where I work about proximity to especially new members of parliament, how people will come around them, suggest issues to them, entice them, and try to control them. Initially, it'll be something simple. You know, you buy your wife a gift or your husband a gift. But slowly it's a golf day, it's something, but slowly you see you spending more time with the guy. But the guy has an agenda. He's a service provider and he has an agenda. So I didn't finish that article. Some internal matters happened there. So I was writing that mainly for members of parliament to understand, especially under the new GNU, what the dangers are, how those dangers are connected to even geopolitical issues. So those kind of rules must be out there, but people don't obey rules if there's no kind of enforcement or stuff. So individual parties must deal with their own members, number one, and they must exercise their own sense of integrity testing and strictness in the rules. And it's not for us, it's for the next generation, the kids. Everybody knows the dangers that kids land in every time and the temptations they're subjected to, which are very different to what we went through. And sometimes geopolitical players would use criminality to make their initial moves. You wouldn't see it coming because you treat it as a crime. And yet it's part of a chessboard being played. So there's that one. There's a third one about the independent agency. And the fourth one is to look at, so municipal police, Metro Police. Metro Police was meant to be a force multiplier. That's what was done. 2 things happened. One, it was done through SAPS Act, the Metro Police. And the SAPS Act took precedent over the other local government-related legislations. The result is controlled by now, as it's done by Civilian Secretariat for legislation formulation. Whereas that's, in my view, my humble opinion, not being a jurist, is unconstitutional. It should be done here by the members of parliament, understanding the legislation and formulating here. So one of the key issues which everyone asks is because my organization, where I am not an official or major active member, we have an allergy to anything that sounds like it's moving towards federalism, even if it's not, because of the experiences of the past and division. Now, the other party in the GNU that controls the Western Cape has the opposite view. They go from a position of federalism. So there is almost an instinctive clash that comes, whereas we should leave the isms out and let's look at what works. So I'm talking about municipal police. So if municipal police was to be a force multiplier, why aren't municipal police properly trained with the right standard operating procedures, right prescripts, allowed to carry some dockets to take the pressure off SAPs? So that if there's a theft in a municipal building, you don't have to get a whole detective to come from, the big station and come in and investigate it. You'll get that a member to do that. Already a lot of legal competencies have cascaded to Metropolis. Boarding vessels, if there's suspected there are drugs on them, domestic violence and emergency safe centers, public order policing issues. So part of what I was doing in my missing years from the CV was doing possible models to get that done. And one of the models that we were doing was...
We're a long way from the question, Mr. McBride. I asked for three things that would prevent political
It's three
interference.
things I've given you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I started enjoying myself.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Klopper. Are you next? Honorable Breytenbach, who is speaking? The 20 minutes, who is using it?
Honorable Kohler-Barnard.
Honorable Kohler-Barnard, your time starts now.
Thank you,
Up
Chair.
until 12 minutes past.
Mr. McBride, it's interesting that Mr. Pakhlani, of course he's Mr., not General, as he's been referred to for some reason. His arrest was along with several crime intelligence members, major generals, all arrested over 54 million rand tender fraud. And the ID did the arrest. That was in 2022. And the tender was way back in 2016. So it took a very long time to come to that point. And again, the company was iView. That was alleged. Now, you referred to iView a little bit earlier. The Durban businessman, one in Banathan Kistia, same person. And I've looked through and I've seen his name and his companies pop up in a number of matters.
Yeah.
So yes, I think he's very deeply involved in a lot of the cases. In fact, he was also investigated in relation to the 45 million rand procurement of a grabber prior to the ANC's elective conference at Nasrec in 2017. And I remember being in a meeting when you informed the Police Portfolio Committee about the grabber issue.
Yes.
And yeah, I think you were done away with soon after that for your missing year. So another system called the Daedalus, 21 million, also was from iView by crime intelligence to encrypt phone calls. Of course, at that time, Mr. Pakhlani was already under investigation in a blue lights matter. Again, payment was made. There seemed to be a history of payment being made, but no goods delivered.
Yes.
So that resulted in, sorry, I can't see Mr. McBride. Thank you, that's great, thank you. That resulted in Mr. Pakhlani being arrested again. That was the 86 million. So joining those dots, we seem to have the common element of that Durban businessman. Would I be correct in having done that?
Yeah, indeed, there's a clear pattern, which I was trying to explain earlier. The pattern indicates commitment to corruption. It's not like one corruption out of the blue. It's a commitment to corruption. It's like people are put in place for corruption. So when someone tells you this matter is an HR matter, check deeper. People get put in positions to do certain things. People get put in positions as a reward for things they've done before. So inevitably, in such a system, a systemic problem exists. where the system is used to do corruption. So that's where we are. So it's a commitment to corruption. It's about eating, controlling the funds. And also we have obsession with rank. I tell you what, I was told by a veteran policeman, lecturer of mine, a policeman will sell his mother for his rank. That's so important because it gives him power. Not only power to order people around, power to have access to resources. So that's the name of the game. So if your systems are not right, you can't throw more personnel at the system because you multiply your problems. That's all it is. It's logic, law of averages. If you have your systems not working properly, not being audited properly, and you throw more human beings at it, you just multiply your problems because people catch on quickly. Oh, this is how it works.
Mr. McBride, do you have any knowledge of where Mr. Inbanathan Kistia is now? What is his status? Does he still provide so many opportunities to the SAPs? I've never heard of so many things that were ordered, paid for, and not delivered. I've heard of it happening in our hospitals, and that's all under investigation. But I hadn't realized it was going on to this degree within the SAPs and crime intelligence.
So he's a co-accused of General Patlani.
Okay.
And both are out on bail. And together with Agnes Makmele.
Is he also
general.
I think it's iView software also that was aimed at monitoring the fees must fall social media platforms. Again, paid for, not delivered. Millions. Yes. Extraordinary how much has been paid to this man without delivering anything. So, okay, let's move on. Do you believe implicitly the statement that was presented by Innocent Kuba that he was offered a promotion by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi? I know you went into it, but
No.
what is your absolute belief on what happened at that time about the promotion offer?
Kuba is wrongly interpreted as being weak. And Kuba will smile all the way. But he will pull the carpet out your feet the last minute if you're a corrupt person. And that's what he does. He doesn't say more than he has to. But he is very smart. And he will smile all the way. He'll make you chase him until he catches you. So he operates like that. Gentle, patient, but impactful when it happens. And that's what happened here. In investigating the size of the monster we are dealing with in SAPS corruption, we now have a good idea about it. Thanks to Cedric, thanks to Patlani, thanks to Mkhwanazi. We have a good idea of the corruption. I don't know about the 6th of July things. I know it about from investigations into them. Out of that, we see the size of the monster. The monster can be slain by systems, by definite checks, by getting the right people, by breaking the patronage system for appointments that's inside SAPS. You get a minister who interferes. Well, let me put it differently. You cannot spin a failure. You cannot spin a systemic failure. You cannot spin a whole departmental failure. So it's useless to have a minister go into every incident where someone was killed and you have Masemola standing behind. In each of those provinces, there are national provincial commissioners. There's a national commissioner. Why should, in that instance, Bheki Cele be flying from point to point where there's an incident? That's a waste of money, but also it gives a wrong idea. It's sort of like a false caring about people. Deal with the system that's wrong and fix it up. So you don't have to fly all over the place. It'll happen by itself.
Mr. McBride, you've gone into some depth about crime intelligence and the possible infiltration of the IPID at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think there are still members within the IPID looking to try and run things from their perspective, undermining the powers that be currently?
Yeah, for example, in IPID, since June, no one has access to the emails. Emails got wiped out. All emails from IPID got wiped out since June. Don't exist. You can't access them. Now, with all of this going on, it was an attempt to block the files. People forget that if you email something, it goes somewhere, and that other person might have it, or the lawyer might have it. So you can't kill one section and put a bug in the server and think you killed the whole game. So you can verify it from them. I spoke directly to the current acting ED of IPID when I was trying to request information. And I was told it's they can't access the emails. And at the same time, hard copy documents were being moved out to IPID.
Tell me about the allegations that involve service provider Keith Keating. That seems to be integrally tied in with Paklane and his house, etc. Where does that fit in?
So my understanding is that investigation is continuing, and it's very close to being prosecuted, because all the evidence is with the IDAC. It's evidence in which there was a hell of a fight, I think right up to Constitutional Court, to declare the execution of the search warrant invalid. And it went right up to Constitutional Court, but IPID still won it. So that evidence, hardcore evidence, including the cash money, the cash money is in IDAC lockers.
Okay.
And on top of that, a lot of gratification takes place in another jurisdiction, takes place out of South Africa. Yeah. In particular, Namibia.
Okay.
Now, fortunately, the Namibian police are starting to use mutual legal cooperation to talk to the South African authorities. So there'll be some progress. That was first a hard breakthrough because some policemen in Namibia were interfering with the investigation. So in other words, I do whatever I do here, but I collect on the other side. That's the name of the game.
Were you still leading the IPID when the former SAPS Technology Management Service head, the then Lieutenant General Adelaide Shezi, her nephew, her sister, and Tsepo Khoza were all arrested around about the same time?
Yes.
Fraud, corruption, money laundering
Yes.
in that technology management division. I mean, that seemed to have been a hotbed of theft
Yes.
at the time. And when she used a service provider and family members to, again, renovate her property, to score further SAPS contracts for the family. And she, of course, was working very closely with Mr. Paklane.
Yes.
What is the status of that matter?
I don't know. I think it's still on trial. I know that she was arrested soon after making a presentation to Parliament.
She was.
So she was in Parliament, but all of us knew that there's a warrant out for her. So it was like a really awkward situation.
We've had a few of those.
I can't remember if it was SCOPA or the Portfolio Committee.
Yeah.
But she was making a presentation, a very nice presentation. But we all knew that it's just a matter of days.
Wow.
So it was awkward.
Finally, from me, do you perhaps you can give an insight. What exactly was Nkabinda Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi link? Now, we heard a very bizarre report via Nkabinda about what he referred to as a boys' weekend.
Yes.
and then that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi eventually helped him get a job in the private sector. I mean, how close are those two?
Well, Honorable Member, I think the best way to say it, maybe I'm not answering your question correctly, is if it's a private matter and consulting adults, you know, it shouldn't be at that stage our business.
Okay, I think I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, we were given very bizarre evidence in that matter. I'm done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Barnard.